Elsewhere in the SEC, the other one that's got my attention, Oklahoma versus Tennessee. The Vols are favored by 3 points in this one. Feels like it's an elimination game, maybe for both, but definitely for Oklahoma. I think you're starting to have some angst from that fan base that was really hoping to see a little bit more growth this year. We talked about Oklahoma's schedule in the preseason. We've talked about it through the year, that the wins and losses may not look drastically different than last year.
Yep.
But I think it's fair to say that there's also some questions about, like, where is this team getting better? Is it getting worse than it was earlier in the year? And I've seen Oklahoma fans complaining that, like, the team does get worse offensively the more they get into SEC play. That happened last year, and so far it's happening here. I will share this. So Venables was asked about kind of getting John Mateer back on track this week. And he was talking about that he just needs to try to help him manage the burden of expectations and the burden of responsibility. Everything goes through the quarterback. And, you know, you're playing a lot of good people. You can't have a quarterback that plays poorly and expect to win, but you don't have to play perfect to win either. You need to manage the game well. I think we both have said that we wonder about that sometimes with Mateer and his decision making. So that is a lot on him. I'd be interested to see if he can bounce back here, but it's going to be a game where, you know, obviously got strength on strength with Tennessee's offense and Oklahoma's defense, but then, you know, can Mateer manufacture points? Like, can they get drives? Can they get points? Because I still feel confident that Joey Aguilar and company will be able to.
No doubt. And I'll touch on what Venables said. I actually like that he said this from the standpoint of, it was talking to his quarterback, right, about like, expectations. And so what is that for external? What is that for internal? What does that mean for your game? But he says this, the part about it that stands out to me, everything goes to the quarterback. That's their biggest problem. And I think that's why John Mateer sometimes feels like he has to play outside of himself. If he ain't running it, they're not running the ball well. Right. And then obviously he's got to dish it around in the pass game. I think that they're just a very flawed offense from the way that they're constructed. And the fact that he has to do so much for them puts him in situations where maybe he tries to do a little bit too much. Since I'm on my haterism, I'm going to be the Grinch again. Who has Tennessee beaten? Like, do we know that Tennessee's actually a good football team? Wins against Syracuse, East Texas A&M. I don't even know who that is. They lost to Georgia in overtime. It was a game they probably should have won, but they lost. They beat UAB, Mississippi State. They beat Arkansas in a close game, overtime with Mississippi State. And then they beat Kentucky, lost to Alabama. Who, like, how do I know they're the 14th best team in the country right now?
We don't.
And so this is one of those games where, like, either you are or you ain't, right? Like, we're going to learn about Tennessee. And if they can beat a team like Oklahoma, who, again, they've got some pimples too, maybe you start to feel much better. But it goes back to this. I don't know anything about any of these teams right now.
And you still just don't have a marquee win on your resume. So, like, you could have great losses, but what's propping it up, right? That's going to be one of the questions, I think, when you look at these teams that are going to have more losses on the bubble for the CFP this year.